Bluey is the kind of show that touches everyone's heart, but also gives us countless laughs with incredibly funny situations. Do you remember the episode where Bandit almost pooped in the living room? Or when Muffin became the craziest driver ever? Well, today, we're going to relive these and many other hilarious moments that had everyone laughing out loud while watching Bluey. Starting with the episode Pizza Girls, where the girls decide to play pizza delivery but, of course, not regular pizzas. They make mud pizzas, just like any creative kid would. The funniest part is when Bluey's cart breaks down in the middle of the game, and Muffin steps in like a hero with her souped-up toy car. But if you think Muffin is a calm driver, think again. When they head out to make the delivery, Muffin turns into a completely wild and dangerous driver. Her way of driving is a mix of craziness and fun that's simply hilarious. And if you look at her face, you'll see that Muffin is enjoying every second of it. But honestly, I'd think twice before catching a ride with her in the future. In the episode Magic Asparagus, Bandit ends up in a bizarre situation thanks to Bluey's imagination. In this story, Bandit gets turned into a walrus as part of the game, which is already funny enough. But the best part comes when he pretends he's about to poop right there in the living room. And he really gets into the act. The face he makes is simply priceless. It's as if he's actually trying. And you already know what's coming next. Seriously, I laughed so hard at this scene, and I'm sure I wasn't the only one. Now let's move on to the episode Mini Bluey, which is one of the most fun episodes ever. In this story, Bingo turns into a miniature version of Bluey, while Bluey becomes a bigger version of Bingo. But the really funny moment happens at the end. The sisters decide to prank Bandit and, as always, the poor dad joins in without knowing what's coming. Bingo tapes up her nose, puts on fake teeth, and makes such weird faces that she ends up scaring Bandit, Chili, and everyone watching. And let me tell you, the scare is real. But you'll laugh so much at this scene because, honestly, this kind of prank is always super fun. Next, we have the episode Barbecue, which features one of Bingo's funniest moments. In the story, little Bingo is tasked with making a salad. That sounds simple enough, but she decides to add a special touch and makes her own dressing out of mud. She heads straight for the garden hose and starts mixing water and dirt. The problem? Bingo hasn't quite mastered using the hose yet. And, of course, chaos ensues. The funniest part is when the out-of-control hose completely soaks Uncle Stripe, who doesn't even have time to dodge. Bingo's panicked attempt to turn off the water is absolutely hilarious. Seriously, I laughed so much during this scene, and even Bandit couldn't help but enjoy the chaos. Finally, in the episode Movies, we get a story that's all about Bluey's fear. But the best parts come from Bingo and Bandit. The funniest scene happens when Bingo accidentally releases the Q divider strap, and it smacks Bandit right on the butt. The best part is that even the theater employee laughs at Bandit's pained expression. Poor Bandit, he really doesn't get a moment's peace. So, in honor of this incredibly patient and dedicated dad, let's all send a big stay strong Bandit in the comments. Hang in there, only about 10 years to go. In the episode Magic Asparagus, there's a hilarious scene involving food and transformation. It all starts with the family playing together, and Bluey using the famous magic asparagus that can transform anyone into an animal. She ends up turning Bingo into a parrot. But what Bluey didn't expect was her sister's insatiable hunger in her feathered form. While Bluey is busy trying to stop Bandit, who has been turned into a walrus, from rolling onto the living room carpet, Bingo takes the opportunity to swallow the magic asparagus. The funniest part is Bluey's desperation as she tries to recover the asparagus, literally prying Bingo's mouth open to see if it's still there. But no luck, the asparagus went straight to her stomach. And well, Bluey, the truth is the asparagus will come out eventually, but, as my mom would say, it's going to take a while and come out looking very different. Haha. Speaking of laughs and unusual moments, in the episode Magic Feather, there's a scene that's as funny as it is mischievous. It all happens when Bingo gets hold of the magical feather that makes things heavy. So far, so good. But the trouble begins when she decides to use its magic on a yoga ball and sends it rolling down the stairs. The highlight is Bingo's expression during this moment. Seriously, she looks like a full-blown villain. That little face, clearly enjoying her turn as the bad guy, is absolutely hilarious. The scene becomes even funnier with Bingo's slightly evil laugh, which completes her total villain vibe. It gave me a tiny chill for a second, but then her laugh made me burst out laughing. Bingo, sweetie, you've got a knack for playing the little villain, and honestly, I don't know if you agree, but this scene is unforgettable. Another classic and funny moment happens in the episode where Bluey and Bingo dress up as two grannies, while Chili, who's in the middle of a major house cleaning spree, isn't in the mood to play along. Who hasn't been stressed out while tidying up, right? So, Chili tells the girls to go bother their dad, who's also on an important mission, unclogging the toilet. When the girls arrive, Bandit is there heroically dealing with the mess and delivers a fantastic line. What did these girls eat? The funniest part is that it could very well have been Bandit himself who caused the clog. But he blames the girls without hesitation. Oh, Bandit, that one didn't stick. Either way, this scene proves once again that even everyday tasks like unclogging the toilet become hilarious with this family. Going back to another moment in the episode Movies, there's a scene where Bingo once again steals the show. It all starts when Bandit takes the two girls to the restroom, and Bingo forgets to flush. That's not too unusual. But the real fun begins because the scene leaves it unclear whether it was number 1 or number 2. The best part comes right after. Bingo uses the automatic hand dryer, but being such a small pup, she decides to dry her whole body. The image of her fur being blown every which way is priceless. To top it off, Bingo's laugh is so spontaneous and joyful that it's impossible not to laugh along. Seriously, this scene is one of the cutest and funniest moments of the episode. Cocoa has water in it. If you recognize this line, you already know we're talking about the hilarious episode where Muffin has a sleepover at Bluey and Bingo's house. This episode is a masterpiece of childhood chaos. Muffin, who's usually full of energy, was on a completely different level that day. Why? She hadn't had her afternoon nap, and any kid without a nap becomes a ticking time bomb of strange and funny antics. She starts acting like she's in a parallel universe, pretending to play guitar like a rock star, napping against a plant pot as if it were a cozy pillow, riding a plastic flamingo in the backyard, and driving in her own uniquely chaotic way. I can only imagine what Bluey and Bingo thought in that moment. They must have seen Muffin as the ultimate queen of chaotic sleepovers. And if you're not sleeping yet, hit that subscribe button right now. Going back to the funny moments, we need to talk about Bandit's many desperate situations. Poor guy. He's constantly getting into trouble with his daughters. In the episode Takeaway, Bandit's life is complete chaos from start to finish. It begins when Bluey and Bingo drop their food on the ground, and birds swoop in like little scavengers to devour everything. As if that wasn't enough, the faucet starts gushing water uncontrollably, and Bluey panics because she can't turn it off. Meanwhile, Bandit is trying to help Bingo pee in the bushes, which is already a funny situation in itself. But things get even funnier when he asks Bingo if she's going to take long, and she replies, "It's one of the long ones." Bandit's expression at that moment is absolutely priceless. This is one of those scenes where you can feel Bandit's frustration, yet you can't stop laughing at the same time. Switching to a moment involving technology and grandmas, the episode Call Nana is simply delightful. Bluey and Bingo make a video call to their Nana to solve a curious dilemma. Do grandmas floss dance? When Nana answers, the scene is pure comedy. Instead of showing her face, only her ears appear on the screen. Then, we see Nana's feet, and Bluey and Bingo hilariously try to explain how to position the phone. I don't know about you, but I always think of my mom when I see this scene. She's done this so many times during video calls, and yet I still end up laughing just like the girls. What's amazing is how this moment perfectly captures the small, real-life situations that become incredibly funny when seen from the outside. Now, speaking of clumsy siblings, Stripe is truly in a league of his own. In the episode where he and Bandit are competing in a squash match, the girls decide to control them using imaginary joysticks. The twist? Bandit is much better at the game, leaving Stripe desperately trying to keep up with his brother's level. And then, the funniest moment happens. Stripe gets so focused on the game that he runs straight into the wall. A classic moment. Bingo, who was supposedly controlling Stripe, gives a surprised look. But we all know the truth, he's just really bad at squash. This scene always makes me think that with a bit more practice, maybe Stripe could improve. But for now, he's the undisputed king of clumsy moments. And finally, let's go back to Bluey and Bingo's pranks. They always find a way to put Bandit in awkward situations. Who can forget the infamous swing prank? Bluey asks her dad to push Bingo on the tree swing, but little does he know, it's all part of a setup. When the swing comes back, it hits Bandit right in a very sensitive area. His pained expression is what makes it so funny. It's a classic prank that any parent could easily fall for in real life. But here's a warning, don't try this at home. In real life, it's probably a lot more painful than it looks. Still, it's impossible not to laugh when you see it in a cartoon. Bluey and Bingo truly know how to turn Bandit's day into a roller coaster of emotions. If you're a fan of Bluey, you already know, there are 2 more videos right here that you absolutely need to watch. One of them is simply unmissable. Check them out and let us know in the comments which of these moments was your favorite.